It is Christmas week.
It's happening.
It's happening, which means we've got some Christmas Eve services coming up, which is just a really special time. So we're looking forward to that. And the Tuesday night service, or not this year, it's Tuesday night.
Right.
The service on the 23rd that we added in last year, I think that was just a good decision. I love that our team's willing to do that, and that it helps people some of you who are traveling on Christmas Eve, or you're trying to make multiple family events and all of that stuff, be able to come out.
Some people doing 2 or 3 family events.
Exactly.
They're busy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, it's been a little while since Justin's been on the podcast. This is kind of back to our norm. But hey, I just threw some questions down. I thought I would kind of rapid fire at you for us.
They are.
I know, that's what makes it fun. They're not trick questions. I just go. It's like Christmas related stuff.
All right.
It's like kind of a mix. All right. Favorite Christmas food. So that could be like, anything around the Christmas holiday or the day of.
For a long time, I was like just a turkey guy.
Yeah.
But we did prime rib a few years ago.
Oh, you did?
We were doing okay financially, I guess. And that was awesome. But a little stressful. First time you do something like that, you're like, I hope I don't ruin this great piece of meat we paid for.
Exactly.
But yeah, so something like that.
That's cool. No, I'm on that same exact track with you. We've done turkey and ham forever, and my mom's a great cook, and my sister's now a great cook, and she was on the podcast last week. But she's like, "Hey, how about prime rib?" And like, let's try it. Like,
who's going to argue about that?
3 years ago, and I'm like, "How's this going to go at home?" It was amazing. So a few weeks ago, she said, "Should we do prime rib again this year? Because we're all together." And like, yes, let's do that. We'll all split the cost. It's not cheap, and so I'm looking forward to that. And that's been a newer one.
Yeah, last year we had Jen's whole family over to the house, and we just bought like a holiday ham from Barbecue 152. It was already smoked and everything, and that was worth it because you just go and pick it up and it's done.
And you're ready to go. Yeah, like honey baked's good.
Yeah.
The other thing I always loved is my mom grew up, if you don't know this, on a farm in Indiana.
Yep.
So for years she would bring home corn from the farm and do the sweet corn. It's just so good. All right, just a Bible question. Where was Jesus born?
Bethlehem.
Thank you. Good job. Favorite Christmas movie?
Ooh, I mean, it's got to be Elf. Because I went and saw that like 3 times in the movie theater, which is like...
you know you like it if you're going back.
So funny.
It was so good.
And then, I like Christmas Vacation is a good one. And, Christmas Story I'll watch. It's on all year long. So,
it's kind of some classics and stuff. Yeah, we've really enjoyed Klaus, which came out on Netflix a few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, along with the ones you mentioned. We watched Greatest Christmas Pageant Ever last night, which is something new that was put out. And that was pretty decent. Do you remember the name of the angel who appeared to Mary?
Gabriel. But I said that yesterday.
Oh, you did? Yeah, that was part of our message. Okay. How many wise men were there?
Oh, we don't know.
Yeah. Explain that to people. A lot of people know that if you've been around church, but we always depict it as 3 because...
Because we say there's 3 shepherds, because that's the way it came in the box for the nativity, probably. I don't know. Oh, we say 3 because of the 3 gifts.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly. I think that's how that kind of got put together.
Yeah, but I hope what we kind of assume throughout church history is that Daniel, when he's in Babylon, he's one of the wise men. We kind of have this hope that we know he has the scroll of Jeremiah, and we're hoping that he's leading a Bible study and he's teaching the other wise men. And then they carried on that Bible study for 400 something years. And that those guys were the ones, or those people were the ones that were waiting for the star. Yeah,
because it seems like out of that part of the world, potentially out of the east, is where they came, where Daniel had been exiled hundreds of years before, and they were looking for these signs, So, very interesting.
I hope that's
connection.
The way it goes.
But I hope, and again, they didn't show up the night of Jesus' birth like the shepherds do. It seems like they come later, right? But we put it all together in one nativity scene. But it was probably I'm hoping it was a large entourage who comes to worship. It would have been neat to see.
I think it would have been, I think it was great. Yeah, and we kind of screw up the timeline. We have Christmas carols that aren't, necessarily biblical, and Little Drummer Boys and different things like that. But I think the timeline is different. Some people put the wise men in another room, in their house because they weren't there. They were later on. And then just, I think I was reading today Herod's response to the wise men. It seems like he purposefully, is trying to exterminate a generation of people because of the timeline, so it seems like it's probably a year or two after.
Yeah, because he tries to kill all the children under 2, which again tells you the significance of Jesus, and we have some history on that, him trying to wipe out all these children, which is so sad, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, from something sad, something good.
Yeah.
Favorite Christmas gift ever? You remember anything throughout the years that you're like, man, that was special to me?
Yeah, I think I've said this before, so I don't know if it's on the podcast or if it was in a message, but my first one is my Nintendo, the first Nintendo ever. Was like, oh, that was awesome. My sentimental one is my grandfather was a writer for a Christian weekly magazine, and my mom went one year and compiled all of the articles that he wrote. It was called The Lookout. All the articles he wrote that involved family, and she compiled all those for us and for everybody in the family. And so we have a little collection. He wrote a lot more than that, but she grabbed all the ones that were a little bit more personal.
Yeah, that's really neat.
So that's kind of cool.
All right, one more biblical question for you. Something that stuck out to me as we were looking at just that history again these last couple of weeks. Do you remember what did the angels say to the shepherds about what would be the sign of who this Savior was? What would they see when they got into Bethlehem?
Oh, there's a baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger?
Lying in a manger.
All right, yeah.
To me, that's so unique, right? Because if somebody said to you today, hey, you go look for this child, they're going to be in a cattle trough. Yeah. Right. So it's so unique that, it was part of God's plan and design, and the angels were aware. It wasn't just an accident where they ended up, that he was born in a sense in this lowly place. And this is going to be a sign. Like no other child was going to be wrapped that way in a sense and put into a manger. And so for them to hear the angels and then go see that, I mean, it must have just been.
Yeah, I've heard. Amazing. Have you heard this? I saw this.
All right, here we go. Is it conspiracy theory or something?
No, I don't know. But have you heard that maybe the shepherds, that where they got the Passover lambs was from the fields of Bethlehem, and that those were connected, and that potentially he was wrapped in priestly garments and those cloths, and so there's some deeper connection there. I mean, who knows if that's true? But I was reading this morning about in Matthew's prophecy, he talks about the prophecy that says he's going to shepherd my people. Yeah. Like Jesus was going to be a shepherd. We're going to talk about him being the good shepherd.
Yeah, here in the new year.
Yeah, in January. And I think there's some really deep things going on right from the drop of Jesus coming into our realm and stepping into that space. I think he had to have a unique birth because he was going to live a unique life. He was going to die a unique death. And so if he had had a normal birth, or, there wasn't some sort of tension around that, we might not have been drawn into that as much.
Yeah. Well, and it's just such clarity.
Right.
This is who this child is. There's no doubt. It's not some other child. This is unique. Tell me something you love about the Christmas Eve service over the years, as you've done them in different churches, different places, as you've been one who's just come and been in attendance, one who's helped put on a service. What's something you look forward to this week?
Yeah. I don't want this for us because we're going to do 5, over the next 2 days. But growing up, I loved the 11 o'clock nighttime service. And even when we were working at South Valley in San Jose, when we were younger, at the end of our last service, I would go the Lutheran church at 11 o'clock and go to their midnight candlelight service. I don't want to do that ourselves, but I like being there with my family. I like being around family. I like watching our kids, even when they were younger. I mean, they're still young, but when they were younger, watching them hold the candles and singing Joy to the World and doing those things to close out the night, Silent Night. I love some of the Christmas carols and the theology of them and the things that we sing at this time of year. So all of those. Growing up, my home church, we used to do a drive-through nativity. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
is this church in Santa Clara, right?
That's like a big one. It's like a walk-through thing. Yeah. I just thought it was the coolest thing. It was something that the youth group did back then, and so you would drive through the little parking lot there and see all the little stations of the nativity. So those are kind of fun too.
Yeah, there's some cool history there. Yeah. I think we'll see some of that stuff come back here in the future. I think people are looking for things like that. We've done this series on Advent. the fact that Jesus, when he comes, he is our hope, peace, joy, and love, right? Even as I move my hands around, I go think about the 4 candles and how we've lit them the last few weeks. What stuck out to you in this series, or what have you enjoyed most about doing this Advent series the last 4 weeks?
I just think when we look at our culture, when we look at what's going on around us, the world wants us to have those things, especially this time of year. Like it's not hidden that the world is looking for hope or peace or joy or love. Those are things that the world kind of tells you that's what we should be aiming for. And in fact, this is an interesting time of year on the radio or on your Spotify account where they're going to play Christmas songs that have theology in them and talk about Jesus. We don't usually have Christmas songs that are, I mean, we have secular Christmas songs for sure, but they're typically, if they're religious in any, they're aimed at, Judeo-Christian thoughts. But even along those lines of the hope, joy, peace, joy, and love that the world is offering, that it's just such a shadow of what we get from Jesus. And I think the one that spoke out to me the most was talking about joy a couple of weeks ago and realizing that Paul wrote all those verses,
about rejoicing.
About joy, rejoicing and hey, we're afflicted for you and we rejoice in that. And our joy is overflowing because we're facing trials. And I'm just like, that's true. Even though we face hard times and for many people, this is a difficult season. It stirs up a lot of things, or you might be going through a lot of things, or it's the end of a hard year, or, you're nervous about the year to come. But for a Christian, we can be so anchored into Christ that the storms and the struggles of this world, they don't mess with the joy that we can have in him. So I think that's the one that stood out to me this year.
Yeah. No, I've had a lot of people who are talking about joy, and I've gone back to that line we said a couple of times, right? This joy that comes in Jesus, it can't be given by the world, so it can't be taken away.
Right.
I love that. I thought,
yeah,
it can't be taken away by the world and the circumstance of the world.
Right.
It's something outside this world, right? That came to us in Jesus. It comes from the outside. And as you said, their soul knows they need these things.
Yeah,
hope, joy, peace, and love. Yeah. And they're looking. And that's where Jesus comes, and he is the fulfillment of that, right? Yeah. It's beautiful. Like our soul knows, people know they want that. They'll write songs about it. They'll talk about trying to seek those things in this season. And Jesus actually is those things. And it directs people towards Jesus, right? That longing in their soul. There's something good there they know is missing.
Yeah, we put all those words all over our lawns and our houses and, our Christmas cards and all kinds of things. So, the world wants those things. It just can't offer those things eternally like we can get from Jesus. Now, it doesn't fix all the things. And I don't think that when Paul says I rejoice because of my sufferings, I don't think he's always just beaming with excitement. I think it's still hard. I think it's still painful. I think in some ways he might even be preaching to himself, because I know that we all face difficult times and we have to remember, wait, hold on. My joy, my hope, my peace, my love is found in Christ alone. And so that's why that's why we go to church every week or a couple times a week for some of us, because we just need to be reminded that because of what we're going through together.
Yeah. I think one of the things that stuck out to me as we talked about love this last weekend, and one is that we're part of this love story. Just a reminder of that, this whole idea that we're loved by God, this whole thing of Christmas is that we're loved. And I just want to continue to grab onto that and kind of push aside all the other stuff. And then, Mary is this human. She's a human like us who's invited into this thing, and the sacrifice she makes, the trust she has in the Lord, right? Everything that's on the line for her to say yes. As you've said, let it be done. In a sense, your will be done, which Jesus says at the end of his life. And it starts with her. And just amazing, tough young girl, right? Teenage girl.
Yeah, man, I think as Protestants, we understand why we always take a step back on Mary, but I always like to really marvel at her. Even Luke says, she treasured these things in her heart. I really believe, I said this to the church a couple weeks ago, that Luke probably sat down with Mary in the book of Acts as he's writing his account of Jesus' life and asked her, hey, talk to me. Because, he's the one that investigated who Jesus is.
He investigated, and as John writes, right? Yeah. John is the one next to her at the cross. And Jesus says, hey, this is your mother.
I think she pulled out the song she wrote. I think she told him about, the angel's visit. I think she told him about going to Elizabeth and feeling Jesus jump. And I think, she treasured the moments she had with Jesus in her heart all the way into the end. And yeah, she signed up for something difficult, as did Paul, as did the disciples. But there's something that even the difficulty of following Christ or being called into those spaces that God called Mary into, the joy and the peace and the love and the hope that they had in following him and being obedient to God's call in their life outweighed the heartbreak that they might face. And so thank you for their faithfulness. Thank you for Mary.
She's a hero of the faith as well, hero. And so you're right.
Hero.
We get to celebrate that, right? These heroes that have allowed us to be here today, the sharing of that faith and the gospel and the truth they knew and the investigations they did, right? So that we could know Jesus and what it meant for him to come into the world. And so that's what we'll celebrate. Quickly before we end, little public service announcement. I got 2 candles here. Here we go.
We should light these up.
Yeah. So, hey, reminder, we're doing a candle lighting service because
you might want to save this
video.
The
light has come into the world. And so what will happen in the services when you come this week on Tuesday or Wednesday, we will light a candle, or you might light a candle from what we call as the Christ candle. And so what will happen is, say this one is lit. Let's assume it's lit. So I'm going to lean it over here, put it over here. I'm going to hold mine straight up and down. And you're going to bow.
I got to bow.
You got to bow.
Receive the light.
Receive the light. So I get to, this one's lit. I don't want the wax going everywhere. So the lit one stays straight up and down. Reminder, this thing can go up and down too. So once you get it lit, put it up a little bit, right? And then when you blow it out, so bow to receive, right? When you blow it out, put your hand up. Just do it gently. It takes a while to clean wax off chairs and some people's clothes. Just be good to each other.
It's not wax on, wax off. It's wax on, wax on, wax on, wax on. It might come off.
It might come off, yeah. So, hey, we love you. It's Christmas week. We hope 2025 that you've experienced God's goodness, even if it's been difficult, no matter what has come your way. And we will celebrate Christmas Eve with you here in just the next couple of days. God bless.
God bless.